We're going to now move on to a session in which representatives from 3 of our larger companies here in Essex are going to talk to us. I was saying earlier on that it's interesting the landscape of particularly technology businesses in Essex is quite interesting, ranging from very successful micro and small businesses that are famous in their particular areas of specialisation, not necessarily household names, right through to large companies that have a global presence. And sometimes the names change. So I mentioned Marconi earlier on, but there's the legacy of that through Celex and parts of BAE Systems, and I guess even e2v was part of the GC group, wasn't it, historically? So there's a lot there. Outside of that sort of area of technology, we've got world-leading names in terms of automotive through Ford, through New Holland Agriculture, medical technologies through Olympus, which I guess they still call themselves Olympus Keymed in Southend, but they're part of the Olympus group globally. So we've got an interesting blend of the small and the medium and the large and the super large. So we're now going to have 3 presentations, first of all from e2v, then from Celex, and then from Vistion, talking about their experiences in this landscape of funding that we're here to talk about today. So it's my pleasure first of all to introduce Paul John, who is Technology Manager from e2v Technologies, and so hand over to Paul now. Thank you.
Thank you, David. This is working, yeah? So I probably won't use it. I'll try and use this one, then I can walk around and talk at the same time. It's much better. e2v. I'm going to spend a few minutes telling you what the company does, who we are, and then what we do with funding and what we have done over the past 10 years. Now, if I press the right button, okay, it's a bit of a show and tell here. How to get somebody else to pay for your new product development. That's what grant funding is all about. Let's not pretend it isn't. I like to think everybody in the room knows who e2v is, but that's just my arrogance and you probably don't. Well, we're based in Chelmsford. We came out of GEC back in, I can't remember, back in the 80s. GEC split in half, went to Marconi, British Aerospace. We were with Marconi. Marconi collapsed. We became e2v Technologies. Our business is built on 3 core pillars of our business, which nobody probably understands: vacuum electronics, silicon photonics, and high reliability ICs. Doesn't matter terribly what they are for today, but really high-tech bits of business taking place in the middle of Chelmsford. We're not a startup, as I said. We've been around a long time. 1947, that's when we kicked off under GEC, and we're a big company. It doesn't particularly matter what the numbers are. We've just had the end of year. Our end of year has just gone by. We're back to growth. We're doing well at the minute. The bit I'm particularly proud of on this slide is that one there. We employ hundreds of engineers and scientists just across the park in Chelmsford. We sell our stuff around the world. I really ought to change some of this. Too much corporate speak. We sell our stuff around the world. Lots in America, lots in Europe, Middle East and Asia, not so much in Asia Pac. But what do we do? We're thinking, what does this company do? I wish this guy would say something. Here we are. If you were watching telly just before Christmas, you would have seen Stargazing Live, that programme with Dara O'Brien and Brian Cox. And on it, you would have seen something that looks like that. That thing there is a satellite. That's the Gaia satellite that is now at the L2, L3 point, taking pictures of the universe. And that's the image sensor that is sitting on the satellite, taking pictures of billions of stars. That was designed and built in the middle of Chelmsford. That's a CCD focal plane, which is now flying around the universe. And there you go. Proof it was actually on BBC. Yeah, I wasn't there, sadly. And BBC don't allow you... Can I go back? BBC don't allow you to have any advertising, but we managed to slip in the e2v logo there. We are probably being sued for that as I speak. But we did manage to slip in the corporate logo on BBC television. Proud of that. Well done, E2v. A little bit more corporate speak before I get on to the purpose of this talk. What do we do? I hope nobody has got the wrong side of one of these machines. That machine there is a cancer radiotherapy treatment machine. A lot of our business is based around providing the power, the energy converter that goes inside the cancer radiotherapy machine. They're called magnetrons, linear accelerators, those who know. We build them, we supply them, and we've got 90% of the world's market for cancer radiotherapy power systems. Not too much corporate speak, but some of our stuff is currently on board. Where is it? On Mars. That's up on Mars. I think it's Mars. Yes, the Mars rover. There we go. We don't make the big machine. We don't make spacecraft. But the sensors that that machine is using on the surface of Mars, again, were built just across the park in the middle of Chelmsford. Proud of that. Another one, the last corporate speak slide. Again, we don't make big trucks like that. That's really boring to make. But the process, let me start again. Rio Tinto dig up lots of Australia, crush it, and extract the minerals from the ore. We are helping them extract those minerals more efficiently by using microwave power to micro-crack the ore. Another one of our developing markets. There you go. There's the bit I was looking for, just written up there. Okay. Oh, that wasn't supposed to work like that. Never mind. That's enough corporate speak. Let's talk about grant funding. I'm not going to talk about European funding for reasons that will become obvious, but let's look at grant funding. My personal experience of grant funding. Projects for which we've won funding support. I'm not going to explain any of these. These are all real projects, and anybody who knows E2v will know these are real projects. Doesn't matter what they are. There we go. That's the takeaway slide there. We've been successful in gaining 13 million grant support since 2005. That's a lot of money. By anybody's standards, that is a lot of money coming into the company. Where'd it come from? Where did we get this money from? We like the European Space Agency. The Technology Strategy Board. Did I see somebody with a TSB badge on here earlier? Oh, I'd better be polite about them in that case. I should be polite about the TSB. We love them to bits, sometimes. The Department of Business, Innovation and Skills, BIS, direct from government. That's a good source of money. I can talk about that forever. Chelmsford Borough Council, well, yeah, forget about them. Essex County Council, they've got money as well, but they're a bit tight too. And the UK Research Councils. We have strong links to the key research councils, the STFC, the Science Technology Facilities Council, and the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. They have money, we like to access it. Other possible sources might be of interest to people. Well, that's what today's all about, is H2020. But I have views on H2020, so I won't say much about H2020 while I've got a microphone in my hand. And charities, but we don't use charities. Our money tends to come from these people up here. 13 million over a few years. Why bother? It's great to get it. Let's have grant funding, but why bother with it? Let's have a look. It's money. It adds to the money you can invest in your program. No argument about that. It allows you to try more risky things. If you talk to the funding bodies, they'll say this is de-risking money. They will fund more risky things than your managing director will do. Writing the bid, people tell me it's good for you. I wasn't grey before I started writing bids. People tell me it's good for you, though. And the collaboration you have to have today, you always have to do collaborative research. And working with other companies or academia, universities, is generally stimulating. I said that one earlier. These are the fors. There must be some againsts coming up in a moment. the againsts. Writing a bid document is painful. Don't underestimate it, folks. Somebody said earlier, a business plan to get money out of Europe was what, 30 pages? And the rest. Writing bid documents can be extremely painful, I know. I have yet to find a 100% funding stream. People will give you, they expect you to contribute to the project. TSB will say they give large companies 50%. I've never seen 50%. It never seems to work out that generous to us. Now, there we go. Even when grants are 50%, large companies seem to get 30% because the SMEs get more and universities want all their fees paid. There we are. SMEs will do better. And there's always an administrative overhead. You always have to talk to government. You always have to write reports. You have to attend meetings. You have to go to Europe. These are the againsts. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Remember that in grant funding. We've got all this money. How have we done it? How have we been so successful? We never chase the money. Just because there's money out there, we don't chase it. That, in my mind, is a recipe for disaster. I'll come back to that first point in a minute. You will always have to fill in an application form. You'll have to apply for the money. It doesn't appear on your desk in a bag. Get someone in your business who can fill out an application form clearly and simply. Use simple words. Get your story across to the assessor. There you go. I sit on assessment panels, another side of my job, as some people in here probably do as well. And if the assessor can't understand the case you're making, you won't get funded. Your project can be as clever as you like, but if the assessor fails to grasp the point, you won't be funded. There you go. I'm repeating myself here. I have that last mantra. If I have to read an application 3 times before I understand it, I won't fund it. I'm using sort of technical terms here. The theme of the call. Grant funding bodies have a theme to their call. They want projects in this particular area. Make sure you align with the theme. So many people think you can bend a project into a theme. Well, it doesn't usually work. There's always a trick question on the application form. I may tell people what it is later, but there's always a trick question, and that's it. You're applying for public money if it's a TSB grant, and the TSB will say, well, you've got such a good idea here. This is a brilliant idea. You've spent loads of time explaining it to me, so why don't you fund it yourselves? Why do you need public money to support this project? If it's so brilliant, go to the banks, borrow money, sell your house. Why do you want public money? Make sure you can answer that question correctly. I will sell the answer later, actually. Another one is, if you don't get this grant, what do? You put forward this brilliant idea. If we don't fund you, what's going to happen? You'll always get those questions asked. Make sure you know the answers. I do. Okay, that's an obvious point. Okay, a little bit about process. I won't spend too long on this. I think I'm overrunning already. Make sure you know where your company's going. That's supporting my view of don't chase the money. There's no point chasing the money. Have a clear strategy and make sure you are following your clear strategy. There you go. This is all business planning, which is all rather tedious. Look for the appropriate calls. Get a bid team. Who in your business is going to lead this bid? Who's going to write it for you? Who can you spare to write your bid? Or even better, who can you con from outside to do it for nothing for you? That's far better. I've never managed to do that. Obvious stuff there. I could talk forever about that, but I won't. Never chase the money. Okay. Let's go on. After a while, you'll have put your bid submission in. You'll have put in your submission. You'll either win it or you won't. If you've not won it, you'll get almost no useful feedback. All the grant funding bodies claim they give you wonderful feedback. Well, they don't. They'll give you 3 lines feedback. They'll be too busy looking at the people who've been successful. They get the effort, they get the work, the others don't. Take the bid team to the pub. I've never had that happen yet, actually. That just doesn't happen. That's wishful thinking. Anybody been down this line? You've won your money, you've got your £1 million of taxpayers' money, you're working with 3 universities. Who's going to own the IP, the intellectual property, the inventions at the end of it? Wow. Most funding bodies don't care who owns it, but they do care that it's determined who owns it. I've had big programs collapse because we can't agree who owns the IP at the end of a program. I won't mention university names, but some of the London ones are a pain in the bum. There you go. Okay, a lot of that stuff is fairly obvious. What happens during a project? You've got public money. What happens during the project? Do projects ever go wrong? Well, ours always go wrong, believe me. Projects just go wrong. You will have a monitoring officer appointed to your project. They always do that. You don't get money for nothing. Use that project monitoring officer. Things go wrong, talk to the project monitoring officer. Project creep. I don't think that's an e2v phrase. It comes from people saying, well, can you just do this? And you have to tackle project creep positively. Sometimes you say, yes, we can just do that. Other times we say, well, yeah, we'll do that, but it'll cost you another £1 million. This last one here, you've written the project proposal and you've told the monitoring officer you'll do all sorts of clever things. And then later on, the monitoring officer will ask you to demonstrate that you've done what you said you'd do. Well, don't act surprised because you wrote it in the first place. Okay. I'm coming to the end. What could possibly go wrong in a publicly funded project?